Greetings, weary traveler. Come, warm yourself by the fire, and let us regale you with mighty tales, tales of adventure, tales of heroism, and tales of Tamriel. I am LotusOfDoom, which it's been a while since I've manned this bus trying to not go off a cliff. But tonight, Ark is feeling under the weather, so we will be taking his place. Foolishly, he left us in charge. Hopefully, he will be able to provide you a bit of the pre-show shenanigans for the audio, because it was an adventure. But with me tonight is the Giggle Queen herself and the stream team member of the show, HyperPixie.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing great. There was a pause there, and I didn't know if you wanted me to talk or if you wanted to ask me a question.
That's great. Everything's great. The editing will really test his editing skills. Also, you just left your bubble on the live stream.
I'm sorry, I'm fixing something that I noticed. There was a random black box below my head. I'm sorry, audio listeners.
Yeah, I was going to say, audio listeners, I apologize. Hopefully, if Ark can edit in the extra bits, you'll get some amusement at the end. He's done some great stuff with that. So he'll have plenty to work with this week. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. We don't have a ton of news this week. I do have access to some of this stuff. Ark, as we had mentioned, is a little under the weather, so we're just going to do what we can without him. There are some interesting bits to discuss, so we might as well get started. I don't believe we have specifically new Patreons. We're not actually running from the actual Dungeon Crawler channel this night, so we don't have direct access to a lot of the back-end stuff, so Ark will fill it in next time and make sure everybody gets thank you'd as need be. But as always, thank you for your support. It's really appreciated. We can jump right in, actually, to our behind-the-scenes update, which is Rest in Peace, Ark. That's it. That's the behind-the-scene update. Ark has a migraine.
Poor Ark.
Yep. I assume it's just the abuse of playing through heroically as Elfanier Pokestick, and it's just that much... that much... ingraining himself in the culture has really just overloaded his brain. So, I mean,
that, and also, like, I know he said he was starting to feel better, but he's going to get an all-new migraine and reset it this monstrosity.
Oh, yeah, no, my deepest condolences. So, it is, it'll be a experience for him. It'll be the true hard mode of audio, like we usually give him. So, I guess it would probably be best to jump. There's some news. It's not super elaborate, but there is some decent news to discuss this week. Which did you catch any of the ESO Live or all of the ESO Live?
I caught the majority of it. So I was actually grocery shopping, but I had it up on my phone because I really wanted to see it, and it was fantastic. It was watching Rich run through Vatashran Hollows, which he previously had. Well, I guess he still has it, but he has the trifecta in there where he did the no death speedrun and hard mode all at the same time. So we know it's possible for him to do it. He has posted the achievement online, so we know he did it. So he was trying to do it again on a live stream, but he died once, which was just tragic. I felt real bad. The whole time he had Gina, Jess, and Finn watching him. They were heckling, and Finn was providing narration, which was also a form of heckling. And it was really, really fun to watch. It was like watching a whole bunch of friends get together and just make fun of Rich, and it was great. It was really entertaining, and as somebody who really struggled in there, even on normal, because I had the bright idea to bring my healer in, it was really cool to see, like, how it's done. And so it was definitely fun to watch. Did you get to see it?
I actually missed most of it and then went back, and the only part that I watched was actually... I have not gone on to Vatashram, or however you pronounce that, Hollows yet. I wanted to get the Ring of the Pale Order first. However, I wasn't super interested in going in blind necessarily, so I was watching Rich for tips on how he was going through things. So I would be like, oh, okay, he did this. I can fumble my way into doing this. So, yeah, that's pretty much the part that I specifically watched. I haven't seen the rest of it. I just kind of watched the Watch Rich shit on a solo instance because he's actually pretty beastly as a DPS.
Yeah, I talked about this last Tales, but I had the chance to run VMAL with him.
Yes.
And yes, he's very, very good at this game.
Yeah. It's almost like they do play their own game.
Yeah, I know. Crazy Weird. Thought.
Anything that you specifically wanted to call out from ESO Live that was worth noting?
So by the time this airs, it's going to be over, but there's currently a Black Friday sale right now. There's also an event all weekend for, I want to say it's like the Explorer Celebration.
Yes, the Explorer Celebration, yep.
Thank you. I was hoping I was remembering that right. Mm-hmm. Where basically you get bonus XP, bonus gold, bonus stuff from nodes all weekend long, and it's been really great. That was announced like pretty close to the time it actually started, so we didn't even get a chance to announce it on Tales. I don't think it had been announced yet.
I think it was like Wednesday and it started Thursday, or it was announced Tuesday and started Thursday. It was very quick. It's very useful for leveling, obviously, but the big thing is it's any place. Like a lot of these celebrations take place in a single zone, and the benefit of this is it's anywhere. So you don't get overcrowded zones. The big problem when you're trying to farm mats in an overcrowded zone is everybody's fighting for them as they spawn. You can go to any place and get double mats, and it is lovely right now. The farming is real good if you need supplies. Not to mention doing your writs gives you like almost 10 grand for doing writs on a character, which that's real nice.
Yeah.
That is real nice. And yeah, like you said, unfortunately, the recorded version of this, if you're not with us live, many apologies. You'll be hearing about how great this event is in the past, as it will be ending Monday, I believe at 10 a.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. That's usually when stuff finishes up. So I believe that's the case with this one as well.
Sounds about right to me.
Yeah. So, last time, I was degraded for not having Markarth on console by Ark, but now he's not here to defend himself because he's too busy at home loving the Altmer. And as a result, I and everybody else on console, both PS4 and Xbox, have got Markarth. And it's awesome. I love Markarth so far. It's a really cool region. However, this will kind of lead us into our discussion topic without trying to make this super negative. But it came with all of the errors that everyone on PC is kind of battling with. It seemed like we got Markarth in good and in bad, because there's a lot of awesome things about it, and unfortunately, a lot of the really awesome things about Markarth are currently kind of being overshadowed by a lot of what the community is having issues with, which I figure it's worth discussing, just pros and cons of this, as now I can actually have input on it as I've played it. So to start with, you've had it longer with Markarth than I have, Pixie. What are your more robust impressions of it so far, now that you've had some time with it?
So I'm going to start with the negative, and then we're going to end on the positive.
That's probably a good way to do it.
For the positives, I've spent a lot of time with the story. I've finished the main story, and I've started on the epilogue, but haven't really gotten a chance to get too far into the epilogue just yet, just kind of touched on it. The main story was, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, so don't worry about that. Main story was really, really cool. It really does kind of explain things where we left off with the Greymore main storyline. And you get to figure out what the dark heart of Skyrim actually is, because we didn't really hear anything about that phrase, for the most part, back in Greymoor. So it was really cool to, like, figure out what this whole year was named for and all of that. Really enjoyed the story, really enjoyed the characters. There's one character that you meet her right away, so I don't think it's a spoiler, but you meet a Reach Witch, and she's just amazing, and I love her character so much. So I really loved the story. The zone is absolutely gorgeous. Did I say I was going to start with the negative or the positive?
We're going to start with the negatives and end with the positive, but you know what? Go with this, because this is actually
we're starting with the positive
so.
and ending with the negatives. I completely got that backwards in my head whenever I said it. So everybody's going to be so confused. So, starting with the positives, the zone is absolutely gorgeous. The music is incredible and seriously sets the tone for everything. The new Blackreach zone, I like it better than the main Greymoor Blackreach, even though the main Greymoor Blackreach is much larger. I find Arxthan Caverns easier to navigate, and there's more glowy mushrooms, which I automatically love. So, those are my favorite points. It does come with a drawback, though. So this patch introduced a fair bit of bugs. The game is less stable than it was in instances like Trials. I personally, the only thing I experienced in Trials over the last couple of weeks since the launch were some disconnects, and they were kind of towards the end. But I don't run Trials that often, so it's kind of hard for me to be a good judge there. The big thing that a lot of people are really upset about, other than just general instability, is the light attacks. Light attack weaving is broken. Like, it's still kind of there, but it feels completely different than it did before. And they did say that was an unintentional thing. They weren't trying to get rid of light attack weaving or anything of that nature. They weren't trying to change it in any way. It just kind of happened, and they're trying to fix it. There is a patch coming out on November 16th for PC and December 2nd for console. But yeah, it's especially for DPS. So on my healer, I don't notice the light attack weaving issues as much. It's something that I can just go without if I need to. But yeah, on a DPS character, I was actually DPSing Sunspire last night. I really felt the difference. I was on a Magsork, and I can usually do a pretty decent rotation with crushing and light attack, crushing, light attack until Crystal Frags procs, but that didn't really work out for me last night. Like, I missed so many light attacks, and I'm so noob to DPS characters anyway, because I usually just heal all the time and occasionally tank, that having finally getting a little bit better at light attack weaving just to have it kind of break, it's like, oh no, my DPS is so bad all of a sudden. And it wasn't great before, but now it's like this feels weird, and it was difficult. But I'm really hoping light attack weaving is among the things that are fixed in this November 16th patch, because I know a lot of my DPS friends have echoed the same sentiment, where it's really difficult to play the game like this, because again, you're used to playing with light attack weaving working one way, and now it's not, and constant instability that a lot of people are experiencing. Again, I've just gotten really lucky. We do have some bugged out bosses that I touched on last week that there are some workarounds on. There's one bugged out boss that I'm aware of, but yeah, my friends have been having issues with a lot more frequent DCs. The other thing that I noticed was Group Finder isn't really working appropriately. Again, I've been in a group of 4 people but still can't queue for a random. It just makes us sit in the queue for no reason, even though we're a full group. But I'm just really hoping they get it all fixed soon. I know that all of this was unintended things. I'm guessing they didn't show up on the PTS. I'm not sure, because it seemed to really take everybody by surprise, even people who played on the PTS, from what I saw.
Agreed. Specifically this light attack thing, I'm curious what... I mean, code is a tricky beast anyways, but I'm curious what changed from like PTS to live servers that added this extra desync. It's not even a desync. It's almost like just like a time thing, because it seems like it's based on your light attacks need to finish hitting the target before you're allowed to trigger the next skill, which is causing the weird delay that's not, because from what I've seen, melee characters actually have less of a brutal time with it. You're not having the same problem because you're up in their face. Attacks are actually hitting pretty consistently. And when I try to do anything ranged on my character, it's weird. When I do my usual up close and personal, it's way, way less apparent. So I'm guessing there's some degree of credibility to that, if that's the case, which is just interesting. Like, where would that come from? Like, what would cause something like that? It's definitely being felt by many, many players, what with, ranged magicka being the go-to for most.
Right. Yeah, it's been a little bit more difficult. That being said, like, I knew it was a problem, so really, I mean, I wanted to do the story anyway, and just doing story stuff, you don't really need to put out, like, really great DPS. I did it all on my healer. It was fine. I didn't struggle with any of the fights. So that's kind of my recommendation, is do the story while you're waiting on a patch, and just try to take time with it and do all the side quests and stuff, and you can still really have fun without really experiencing too many issues. That's just been my approach to it. The story is really good here, so there is still stuff to do, but it does, like, I know my prog group last week canceled our runs, so both the dungeon prog and the Lore Seekers trial team, we decided, let's take a week off, see if things are going to get fixed. I think we are still scheduled to do our Lore Seekers the Lore Seekers run tomorrow. But yeah, I just hope they fix it soon. I hope light attacks go back to normal on November 16th. This does seem like something that's going to be really hard to track down bug-wise, so I'm wishing them all the best and the best in getting it. So hopefully it gets solved.
Yeah, so definitely agree with the majority of what you said there. From the console side of things, it is a little soul-crushing to know that this is how this is going to be until December 2nd, if that date, from what it seems like, that seems to be confirmed at this point. That is a long time. I'm sure they would like to fix it earlier than that. Maybe there's something more to it. I don't know, but oh my lord, that is, from my experience, and obviously that's anecdotally to the groups of people that I run with and everything, but that has basically been like a ton of bricks crushing the majority of my prog stuff. My dungeon teams have either quit temporarily and have moved on to other things, or they are just like, okay, well, we're not doing anything until this comes back because it's just not really feasible. And same thing, it seems like one of my trials teams is that it's going to be an interesting situation to try to fix. But the other one, we're in a very similar group. We called our prog trials because if we're progging it, we're already really working toward trying to complete it. It's challenging, it's difficult, it's something the majority of people haven't done, or in some cases nobody has done. So it's already difficult. Adding that layer of stress to it where it's like you've got this, well, are you going to crash? Or your skill's not going off, so you're doing substantially less damage. Like, that really adds a layer to trying to progress through something that makes it pretty unpleasant. So for the most part, it seems like we will kind of just be on hiatus until this is addressed. From my side of things, I have had pretty severe instability on console. I don't want to dwell too much on the negative, but I'm probably approaching triple-digit crashing at this point.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, no, it's like, not to be overly negative, but it's got points where it's not even close to unplayable, where I've actually just needed to stop trying. Like, but on the flip side, I feel like those are more specifically when I play than just general playing. Because other times it's not really that bad. Like, yeah, okay, it's laggy or whatever, but it works fine. And I wonder if that also relates somewhat to what I'm doing. Because the more, like, originally we were like, well, let's try it anyways. And we went into trials and stuff like that. And it was World War III. Whereas if I'm fishing or doing dailies or trying to quest, maybe every now and then it will crash or I get some frame rate stutters, but I'm not doing anything stressful enough that I need to be on my A game. So I don't care. Like, it's like, whatever. The crashing's a little rough, but like a frame rate stutter, whatever. It's not the end of the world. So the only problem is for anybody who focuses solely on that in-game thing, that is going to be rough for a lot of people. I haven't been to PvP. I don't know how that is either, actually, but they are aware of these errors. They're working on them if they do not already have updates for them. It seems like many of the problems they do have. And one of the things I was curious on that I just, before we get into like Tales and kind of stick with the like Markarth situation, you had mentioned there was a way to deal with the Void Mother, the witch. So there are 2 dailies for that. Is there something to this, like, that you could maybe clue me and anybody else who doesn't know? Is there a way? So I've killed her and had it count, but I cannot complete the daily quest, either of them.
What?
They don't ever work. Like, it just never completes. You'll get credit for the kill. You can loot the body.
Okay.
It will count as the region is cleared when it's your first time, but you will never be able to seem to complete the quests.
So is this on PC or console?
It's on console.
So I can only speak for PC. So for me, whenever I encounter the bug, whenever it doesn't count for the quest, it also wasn't counting as clearing the area. But I could still loot the boss. So the only way I've been able to make it count for the quest, now that I have cleared the area, and it worked for clearing the area too, is taunting her down the hill. So you taunt her until she goes out of bounds and resets, and then you can kill her like normal. And then it should count as completed if it's the same bug as it is on PC.
As it is on PC, okay. I'm curious. Yeah, that's why I'm curious if it's because neither of the quests, the ones for for disrupting the ritual, we have not figured out how to ever disrupt the ritual. I heard there was something about like, oh, it's because people are killing her too fast. And a lot of people are like trolling the area by like killing her super quick so people can't like, oh, you know, she doesn't do the ritual. And we actually got, I do greatly appreciate the community sometimes. Even though sometimes they can grief you, other times it's amazing how much they can work together. We actually got about 25 people to stop, like just straight stop, stand still, let her start, let her summon her creatures, and then we were like, okay, everybody target the creatures. Creatures are dead, get out of the circle. And like we had a full like pile of people all doing this in unison, nobody griefing, nobody being a dick. Everybody was just doing their part. And we dragged the fight on for probably 5 minutes to make sure that she did the ritual several times. We killed it, and nobody got credit. We were like, I am out of ideas. So
you main a tank. So all you really need to do, if it's the same workaround as on PC, is taunt her down the hill. She's going to reset, and then you can kill her as fast as you want.
And then the reset. Okay, interesting. All right, you know what? I wasn't sure. That'll be the next thing I try. So maybe it is the same fix, and I'll see if I can actually pull that off. Thank you. I figured people would have an idea, you as well as it looks like SD says the same thing. You just got to reset her. So, okay.
I actually had someone reach out to me, Nitty Bell from Instagram. She listens, and she heard me talking about that last week, and she was asking if it was different for PS4. So definitely let us know next time, or let me know in Discord, so that way I can try to remember to reach back out to her.
Yeah, for sure.
If that's going to work out. I think she was already trying it, but hopefully she's figured it out.
Okay, that's fair enough. It's at least something else to try, because so far it's been kind of interesting that when we're sharing like our dailies in our group so that we can do extra dailies, if we can always do the Dwemer Beetle, but if anybody pulls her, we're like, oh, scrap the quest, next. So that quest is way behind the others, which is unfortunate. But okay, yeah, something new to try then. Perfect. I guess, that's the majority of it. There's no reason to, I don't know. I don't feel like there's necessarily a reason to dwell on the issues. They are well known. It's totally understandable if you are frustrated. This is one of the few situations where I will say maybe, and I will be taking my own advice largely, but it might be worth, rather than getting super upset about this, because this is rough, maybe find something else to play, something else to do for a while until this gets settled back down, because you don't want to get too bent out of shape trying to do stuff and having it fail. So questing seems pretty legit, like no real issues. I haven't heard of anything like causing problems. What do you call it? Like quest holders, like anything to block, like quest blockers. That's the word I was looking for.
There is one quest bug with the main quest. Apparently you can sometimes fall through the world, but you just do /stuck. And if that doesn't unstick you, you need to like reach out to support. Yep. But I was able to clear it just fine. I think they had pushed a hotfix like right after launch that fixed that. I remember there was a little hotfix, and I think it was for that specifically. Yep. You shouldn't have that problem anymore, but if you do, just type /stuck in your chat, and you should be able to get out of it.
When exploring, I get myself into a lot of places that I need /unstuck for. So that I don't consider that big of a deal. Like that, that's fine.
It happens.
So questing seems fine. I know some people don't care about that stuff, but just as options for something, if you don't want to play anything else or do whatever, that's fine. Questing, several people, I was going to say, or I've been, and Ishi mentioned it, fishing, if that is something you actually care about. No opinion yet on PvP. I haven't personally had time to do it. But yeah, maybe just, if endgame stuff is your only go-to, maybe, if you get frustrated by this stuff, it might be good to take a little breather just until they get this stuff ironed out. Hopefully they'll get it done quicker. And, at least on PC, you've got your first chunk coming on Monday, the 16th. So a little longer for us on console, but at the same time, still, options are there, and hopefully they manage to, when these hit, fix the majority of these bugs, because I definitely understand the frustration with this one. The only thing to keep in mind, which I'm pretty sure we mentioned the last time, not that I need to come up with excuses for them, but my assumption is, based on scheduling, this is likely the first one they've completely done from home or remote. So I'm wondering if that might be the reasoning behind some more of the bugs and whatnot. That's kind of speculation, not necessarily an excuse, but I assume personally that probably has something to do with it, whereas Greymoor would have been started before they had to work from home. And I kind of almost would assume that even the dungeons would have been. But this probably is the culmination of, we've had to pretty much do all of this remote. So it'll be curious to see going forward if they can manage to get stuff under control, fingers crossed. But yeah, if you got to, I understand the frustration level. I've definitely got it as well. But yeah, maybe it's break time if you need it, or do solo stuff, because if you don't do the stories, they're great and they work. So
yeah.
So I guess that's it for the news, and we can go on to Tales and things that we've done that have actually been, I guess, amusing, whether they were struggle bus or not. And did you want to start, Pixie?
Sure. So, I mean, I kind of touched on what I did earlier. Since this isn't a spoiler cast, I can't get too into detail about the story, but I did complete the main story for Markarth, and I got started on the epilogue, but didn't get very far with it because the other stuff popped up. I really, really, really did enjoy the main story. I didn't get a chance to do any of the side quests yet, other than the dailies, and I'm looking forward to those as well, just because even though the side quests have always had really great stories, it seems like over the years they've really stepped up the storytelling even in their side quests. It just kind of shows across the board. So I am excited to get some time with those. Also, I've been doing a lot of the dailies because I really like the new motif and I've been wanting to get in on that. So I'll get like a group of my friends and run all the dailies. Also, trying to remember, like, all of the days are kind of jumbled together. So Tuesday was my birthday, and I was actually in Tamriel for my birthday. Got a group of us together, just doing relaxed Markarth dailies, and it was a blast. And I just wanted to say, like, huge thanks to everybody who came out. It felt like a virtual birthday party, which is great during COVID. So it was awesome to feel like I wasn't just, like, at my house not doing anything. It was like a virtual birthday party. It was fantastic, and you guys are all awesome for coming. So last night we actually did normal Sunspire, and the only one who had any issues was Kiz. But before I go
Kiz.
Well, he just DC'd at the very end. But I do, speaking of Kiz, who had issues at the end there, I do like need to give him a super special shout out. So Kiz was the one who asked me if I wanted to run normal Sunspire, and he got the whole thing set up. He was our raid lead. He was the one who got the bot under control and got people recruited to come with us. And then the day before raid, he literally got hit by a semi. He was sitting at a roundabout, and a semi rear-ended him because it could not stop in time. I get a message from him. So this was Thursday night, my time, and it was our prog night. So we got started and we're like, where's Kiz? And we're like, oh, Kiz must have fallen asleep. You know, sometimes he crashes because he has a schedule similar to Ark's. So we didn't think too much of it because we just figured he fell asleep.
I don't believe Kiz sleeps, just as a side note.
Well,
Kiz is a robot.
Fun fact, when Kiz gets hit by a semi, he apparently is unconscious for a little while.
That
so he
seems
does sleep.
Like it would make most people sleep.
But, so, basically, I get a message from Kiz, like, a little while after the stream ended. We ended up just doing pledges because we didn't want to do prog without him. I get a message that just said, sorry, and then he went on to say that he was in the hospital and told me what happened. That dude, I told him, like, look, don't worry about the trial tomorrow. I can find a fill for you. I can fill the rest. You don't need to worry. And that man still not only shows up, but still leads the whole raid and also found fills because we had someone drop towards the end there. And I don't know how he does it. Like, he was literally hit by a semi the day before and then shows up and leads trials. And he'd also been doing vet trials, like, right before he showed up for mine.
I was going to say, I think, as I was just saying, I don't believe Kiz sleeps. This is confirmation that Kiz is clearly some type of superhuman, because that doesn't even make sense. No. How is that possible? So
I don't understand it. Like, I super appreciate him coming, but I kept telling him, like, dude, please rest. Please. Like, we care about you. We just want you okay. And he's like, no, I can sit here and push buttons. DPSing normal Sunspire is practically resting anyway. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to stop you if you really want to come. But that amount of dedication to the game, and just, it was super helpful because I tried to lead a normal Sunspire once, and that just, apparently I don't know how to describe mechanics in there very well for anybody who's not a healer. And apparently I also missed something that I should have explained to a healer at one point because I got them killed because they didn't know they were supposed to move into group at one point. But it was really, really awesome of him, and hopefully, I know he's still on the mend. He's doing okay, but bruised up, of course. He got hit by a semi. I don't know how.
Yeah, one would assume.
Whatever he told me, doctor said no broken bones. I was like, what kind of robot are you? But And Kiz is here and chat with us too, so he hears us saying nice things about him. But
or that he's a robot. Take that how you want, Kiz.
I mean, it wasn't. But seriously, Kiz, I really appreciate you, and I hope you continue to feel better. And just know that we all care about you and want you to feel better soon.
Yes, we need Robot Kiz in top-notch working order for all of our sakes. So
yeah. As far as my tales, other than doing dailies and doing the questing that I can't talk about, and dailies were they were dailies, and it was lots of fun doing them on my birthday, but I can't really think of anything really to report there. I've been playing Assassin's Creed, so outside of those two things, so for the past couple of days I've been really in Assassin's Creed, so my tales are a little bit lighter than usual this week.
IRL Nording.
Yeah, yep. I've been pillaging villages, and I said I've said nice things about Kiz, and then I went to kill his ancestors in England as a Viking. So sorry, Kiz. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me because of Assassin's Creed. It was a little bit lighter, but I did really enjoy the story and recommend anybody who likes stories to go do that one because it's really great.
So one thing that I just kind of wanted you to mention, just because it's super awesome, is for anybody on the live show, and I guess we can put like a picture of it or something like that, but show your sweet ass mug that you got.
Oh, yes. So this was mailed to me by Maya, who is one of my best friends in the whole wide world, and her fiance, and my mug, and my mug.
My one and only mug.
Her fiance is not my mug. I was looking at the mug in the camera, and yeah. Oh, goodness. So her fiance, my mod, and a really great friend of mine, Mediocre Maestro, they sent this to me, and it is a handmade, gigantic, like you can see, it's like the size of my head, Elsewhere mug, and it's like apparently one of a kind, because the dude only sells one of each design on his Etsy store. So it's super sweet, and it has the Elsewhere logo, and it feels really well made. It's really heavy, and it's incredible, and I love it. And I just got that this morning, and it's great for beer. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I didn't want you to get away without saying that. The thing is awesome.
It is awesome.
So I guess, you know what? I can briefly be Ark. Here are Ark's tales. I am currently dead. I will see you next show when I'm all better. All praise the AD. Gross, Ark. I don't know why you typed that in chat, so whatever.
I also see here in show notes that he says that Queen Irene is beautiful and the best leader Tamriel has ever seen and should have been the Empress instead of Tiber Septim coming in and doing his thing.
Ark, you bring great shame to the show. Now that we have all that in there that Ark needs to either edit out or just deal with, since he can't defend himself.
I told you he was going to have a real migraine after trying to edit this show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I'm actually, for whatever reason, losing my voice, so hold on a second. All right,
I should have tried to come up with something witty to say during that whole thing, but as soon as you said that, it's like, I suddenly forgot how to speak. So.
Yeah, details, totally details. I have no idea why, my vocal cords just crap the bed right there. So whatever, it's fine. Everything's fine. You know what? We've hit all the technical issues on stream tonight. Why not do some IRL ones? That's
our computers already broke down. Now it's time for our bodies to also break down.
Yeah, now we'll break down. Perfect. So as everybody, I actually wanted to start my tales with a very big thank you to everybody who has helped me on PC. There are a lot of you. I am now CP 147, and I will likely be doing my random tomorrow with the event and the scroll that I got for logging in today. I should be able to hit CP 160 by tomorrow and be gear cap, so that was nice and quick. I'd name you all off, but honestly, the amount of people who've sent me stuff or helped me run stuff, like Grizz was running with me earlier through all sorts of pub dungeons, but so many of you have helped me with so many different things, be it gear or just running stuff with me, sending me materials when I need it. Specifically, I forgot how difficult it was to do writs because I'm kind of a writ junkie. Wow, I when you start doing writs is rough because it's like, okay, I need, I can make whatever potion. That's fine, not a big deal, or whatever poison. The problem comes from those 3 ingredients they have you give along with the potion. And when they ask for like, oh, give us 3 cornflowers, like, I'm level 14. Why do I have 3 cornflower? Are you insane? Like, I can't afford this. So that people have been giving me some extra supplies that they can spare, which is greatly appreciated. Making glyphs that I can break down so that I can level up, all of this stuff. Greatly appreciated. So I really can't thank everybody enough for all the help that they've provided me getting up to gear cap so that I can goof around with people and do dungeons and trials and all that stuff. That being said, I figured the other thing that I wanted to mention from my PC experience, other than grind to hit CP cap, is I checked to make sure they were okay with me saying it. I'll butcher your names, but I do know that you guys and gals, not sure. The names are pretty unisex, so I'm not sure who's who. But they actually all asked what the name of our show was because they thought they recognized the tag at first. Well, one of them did. And the other two was like, wait, a podcast? I was like, that's fine. I just didn't want to say out your names and have that be something you weren't comfortable with because that just, that's a privacy thing. But they were all fine with it. And I would like to shout out the most recent best pug that I've run with, despite all of our turmoil. So thank you to Goguma, Kosfine, and Avisaki, I believe is how you would pronounce those, the best that I could possibly do. If you did decide to check out the show, I hope you enjoy, but I wanted to thank all of you on the show because this was when I was maybe, I don't know, CP 40-ish range, so pretty low CP, and we decided to do a random, and we went in. It was not Banished Cells. What's the one with the crocodile face? Why am I failing at this?
The crocodile face, the Daedra?
The Monster Mask guy.
That is Banished Cells too. Wait, is Maw of the Infernal. Yeah.
No, it's Wayrest Sewers is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, the literal crappy little crocodile. Like the little
okay, you said crocodile face, so I was trying to think of something that just had a face of the crocodile.
Actual face on the crocodile mask. Yes, Wayrest. So we were in there on Wayrest, which is totally fine. Wayrest, not a big deal, totally, easy peasy. Nobody was max CP. We were all going in, casually running around. We're cruising right through it, not really saying anything, just kind of hanging out. We get to the wizard boss where he puts his staff up in the air, it drains all your power, and you have to heal through it and push him around. It summons the ghost. So we get to this point pretty flawlessly, no issues. Everything's been running great. People know mechanics because we're not just bulldozing through everything because we're not all powerhouses. And when we get there, we start whittling him down, and he raises his staff, and I froze. And I was like, oh no. So I crashed. I reboot the game back up, and I come back in, and I notice everyone's just laying dead. So I assumed that they died without me. I was like, well, that seems unlikely because I'm just like a level CP 40 tank in level 1 training gear. Like, I don't really know why they would need. And as everybody comes back to, they're like, sorry I froze, sorry I froze, sorry I froze. And I was like, oh, I froze too. But I guess it didn't end the instance. I would assume that you would have needed one of us in there to keep the instance, but apparently not, because all 4 of us froze and crashed. So they're like, well, that was weird. Whatever, we'll go right back at it. So we charge back in, and 2 of us stop moving. And it's just me and the healer. Both DPSs just stop in their tracks. And I was like, oh no, this isn't good. So we're teeing off on it. It says offline, offline. And I was like, oh God, they refroze going back in. So we're like, well, whatever. We don't have any DPS, but it's just Wayrest 2. We can just whittle this down. So we start whittling it down. The healers, I forget who was for what roles, but whittle it down, and then we both crash. But we crash as they say back online. So they logged in to watch us DC, I'm guessing is what it would happen. Since I was DCing, I wasn't entirely sure how that transaction would go. So we came back in, and everybody's like, oh no, this is not good. I don't know how we're going to do this. And I was like, whatever, like, it's probably just being weird. So we bum rush the boss again, and this time it starts deleting us one by one. And I'm like, what does it need to do a different one every single time we fight this boss? So first it knocks off the healer, then it knocks off a DPS, and then it knocks off another DPS, and I'm still there. And I'm like, well, it's still me, and the boss had 30,000 hit points. So I was like, well, if I clear it for us, they can come back and we're done. Because they did the majority of the damage. So, like, we'll just get through this boss and we'll clear it. So I get the boss down to 530 hit points, and I freeze. And we all logged back in. And in the most civil discourse I've ever seen from 4 people who were pretty frustrated with life, they were just like, man, this was such a good pug. Like, nobody like quit, and we kept trying. They're like, do we want to try this one more time and see if we can get lucky? I appreciate everybody like sticking with it. Somebody's like, yeah, this was no problem. And I was like, oh, everybody's like so relaxed about this. You'd think people would, you hear internet horror stories where everybody's throwing tantrums about this, and this is pretty fucking frustrating to say the least. And everybody's just like, oh man, this sucks, whatever, it's not the end of the world. So we're like, all right, let's do one more pull. And somebody types charge, we all charge in, and we just straight crash. He doesn't do any mechanics. We do one move, and it's just, we all crashed. But right before we charged in, that was when I asked if it was okay that I like shout them out, because I thought it was nice just that everybody was so chill. I'd like to say we had a heroic end, but instead we had 4 heroic disconnects, and that was how that dungeon completed.
The game said no.
Yeah, the game said no. It wasn't the end of the world. To be fair, it was good for a laugh, and nobody got too bent out of shape, so it was pretty funny. Since Markarth has hit console, I kind of touched on it along with you when we were discussing the pros and cons of the update, and I love the Reach region. Markarth is one of my favorite places, so going back to it is really awesome. To your point, the music is incredible. It's so good. And the region is awesome. I really like a lot of just what is there. The sticker book thing is incredible, and as much as everybody is talking about all the issues, the sticker book works great, and I'm actually surprised at how good it works. Like, I haven't heard any horror stories of people who are like, I lost gear, I lost this. It just tracks everything, and you can sell it, you can break it down, you can research, it doesn't matter. It just knows, and it's lovely. The sticker book is everything they promised, and it works perfectly. So I'm all for giving, that's fine. There's a bunch of errors. That is not one of them, and that is an amazing feature that has been added. I love that you get so many more Transmute crystals now. It'd be fine if you want to give me Telvar too. But transmute crystals, that's much improved. So there's a lot of great things that have come with it. It's just unfortunate with some of the issues. It seems like it's drawing much, much more of the attention. But big fan of Markarth from what I've played so far. I have been farming the Pale Ring chest farm in Bankerai. I really want the Pale Ring. That's now that I've seen how Vatashram Hollows works or whatever, and I'm going to sort of respec as a DPS, especially since I won't really be doing trials much. I don't need to be top notch for that, so I think I'm going to just use a bunch of extra skill points, respec, because I really don't want to do what I did with VMA and be like, I'm going to do it on a tank. No, it's just easier to just put on like some weapons, and I don't want to do that again. That was very unpleasant. So I really want that Pale Odor ring, and the farming, one of the leads comes from opening chests in Bankerai. And it's just random. I've heard horror stories of people doing it for hours. My RNG wasn't that bad. I got it on my 11th chest, so it took me like maybe an hour. There's a great map on Fextra Life that you can just go to the ballpark area of them and search them. So tomorrow I'd like to actually finish. I'm probably going to be streaming me just roaming around trying to do the other ones so that I can get that and factor that into my build so that I can work on the hollows. So hopefully by next time I can have it at least completed. Like, I want to just burn through it on normal and then start messing with veteran and see if it's going to take me a lot of work or if I can manage to dig my way through it in a reasonable amount of time. On the note of trials, I sadistically joined my team. We did not, not like the Cloud Rest 3 shenanigans I'm always talking about, getting my head pounded in by, but we decided, let's try to do Ethereum Archive hard mode. And we went in, and I'm not going to say that it was a flawless experience. I'm not going to say it was a good experience. I'm not going to even say that we were good at it. So we went in. VAA is, for an experienced trial team, it's very easy. Not that it's easy. You know, I don't want to make it seem like, oh, if you can't do it, you suck. That's not what I mean. But like, experienced teams, Ethereum Archive is a straightforward, not overly complicated trial. And we bulldozed into it, and I think we had 14 disconnects on different members. Not all the same person, but like 2 of them were me, and like another person dropped once, and then another one, and then one person dropped 2 more times, and blah, blah, blah. So we dig our way through it, and we get up to the end and we're like, maybe we should just, like, hard mode's fine, whatever, but I was like, maybe for the sake of just getting through this, because we've had so many issues, we just do on, like, normal veteran. And as that's being said, we smashed the last orb. And we're like, oh, we're doing hard mode, I guess. And that's when one of the members was like, oh, sorry, I was not on comms. I'm so sorry. I did not hear that in time. So we went in, and it was very awkward because every time I activated a synergy, I was on Axe tank. Every time I activated a synergy, it would skip a frame.
Oh, no.
So, which was interesting. And we managed to just hold it together the entire time. It was a little weird. To be fair, the axes worked better than normal. Like, they didn't get tired of my crap and decide, you know what, I just want to get one of these DPSs real quick and then I'll come back. They just hung out with me, slapping me in the side of the head the whole time. It really wasn't that bad. So we went through and we cleared it and we had fun with it or whatever. And then we noticed on the leaderboards, I'm assuming this is more because so many people are avoiding trials, but we have the 3rd highest score on the leaderboard for the week. So unless a whole bunch of people bum rush in and decide they're going to try to scoop up scores and really, really, really bump us down the list with a lot of trials teams, we get some free gold shit out of it, which I'm a big fan of for a run that we were like, should we even bother with this? And we're like, oh, actually, we're third place. Sweet. So, pretty cool with that regard. And then that pretty much concludes all of what I've managed to do in ESO over the week. It's a mixed bag, but largely enjoyable. However, the only other thing I've done since the last show, which I had made I had alluded to, and you had been asking me about it, Pixie, I went back to Arena.
And of course, it was on a day where I missed it because I wasn't home. I know. And I still need to go back and watch the fine.
I'll be making sure it gets saved and uploaded and everything. But I went back into Arena, and good Lord, you spend too much time away from Arena, and you forget what Arena does to you, because it was an experience. To everybody who stopped in and hung out, I greatly appreciate it, but we didn't have any riddle doors. We didn't have anything that I needed, help with figuring out. We just got to watch me die over and over and over again and try to read one of the biggest maps I've ever seen in my life. The stream was about 3 hours long, I believe. It was a little over 3 hours long. And where I had left off the previous time was I had just completed the Crystal Tower, and I kind of blew right through it, and it wasn't that big of a deal. And I remember being like, oh, this is actually... I guess I'm actually starting to get the hang of this. And either the Crystal Tower wasn't that difficult, or... I had gotten into a pretty good flow with the game, and I have since lost that ability completely because I am not good at Arena anymore. Not as much as I ever was good at Arena, but holy crap, I got destroyed. We didn't actually have the... what's the name of it? The death counter up. And it was a huge mistake, honestly, that I didn't have the death counter up. I was actually pretty let down because the death counter really would have come in handy, as I wish I knew how many times I died in there. As Kiz brought up in chat, AKB from the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages, when they stream, he uses the Bud Light Knight's dad, as I call him. It's the giant iron golem, and that place was riddled with them. And everything else under the sun was pretty much just thrown at me in there. And I have no idea how to say the name. It starts with a K. I was calling... I don't even think I ever pronounced the name of the caves the same way. It's Cathur, whatever. It starts with a K. You get it. It's fine. It's a place. My direction from this place was there was a monk who ran down into the place because nobody believed him about what's actually happening in the main story, which was the Emperor's been kidnapped, basically, and it's actually Jaeger von Tharn in charge. Well, for whatever reason, this dude, it came to him in a vision, and he's like, yeah, it's totally not the Emperor, it's a trick. And nobody believes him. So he goes on a murder spree, which is the best way to prove your point in life. Is just, I mean, what says I'm totally of sound mind other than murdering the people you live with and then running off to mines, being like, I'm going to find proof, I swear. We just need to collect a piece of a Staff of Chaos. And I'm like, that sounds totally sound logic. Perfect. So I need to chase this guy into this place. And that's where I go. And it's a nightmare. It's just winding hallways and loop arounds and constantly respawning enemies. And I think it was the last place I looked. Well, I mean, I guess it would always be the last place I looked because I wouldn't look after I found it. But I uncovered like 90% of the entire mine before I found the way down. and then I found the way down to where the monk was, and this included me cheesing that sword, that spell of Pass Wall where I was stuck before and I came across that spell which lets you delete scenery. Well, I bought a sword of it, and now it has a whole bunch of uses. So I just straight up delete walls when they're inconvenient to me.
How many uses does it have?
So the Sword of Pass Wall had 66 spell casts on it. So I can delete 66 walls. I might have screwed up and deleted some walls I didn't need to. But side tangent. If I told you had a Sword of Pass Wall, and Pass Wall lets you delete walls, how would you think you use said sword?
Hit the wall with the sword?
Okay,
and
perfect.
It would go away.
So you think like I do. That is not the answer. I need to equip the sword, hold the sword up so that it's like in my inventory, and then I need to use the sword, and it activates a mouse cursor to which then I'm allowed to pick the walls to cast the spell off the sword into to delete the wall.
So instead of swinging sword at wall and wall disintegrating, you're holding sword up like this.
Yes.
And then pointing, and then the sword just goes, delete?
You basically think of the sword like a scroll. My sword is it's actually a pretty trash sword. It doesn't really do very much damage. It's pretty crappy. But I need to make sure that I'm holding the sword so that I can activate the sword like an item, and then I pick which wall I want to delete with the activated sword to cast the spell.
Wow.
Yeah, very intuitive. Exactly the first exactly what I thought. And I was just for a while just swinging the sword around, and I was like, it doesn't even work. Eventually I figured out how to use it. But so yeah, that's how I managed to get through a couple dead ends. But managed to get all the way down. I find this guy's piece of paper where he points out where the Crypt of Hearts is, which is where the sixth piece of the Staff of Chaos is. So I'm very eager to get to the Crypt of Hearts because, as anybody who plays ESO knows, Crypt of Hearts is a dungeon, and a relatively commonly run one is if you need Ebon gear, it's out of there. But it took me the entirety of the stream just to get out of these mines because I died so many times, and then also, actually had to find where I was going. Grab that, head out, and was all excited. I was like, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll just clean out my inventory and we'll call it a day stream. Thank you for hanging out, blah, 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 blah. I go in and I try to go into the local merchant and my game crashes because that's the way Arena goes. So we had a very unsatisfying end to Arena where it just ended on a black screen of me being like, oh, okay, cool. I guess we're all done here. So... So next time I play Arena, I think I need to leave the mines. I think I saved right before I went back. And yeah, that was the end of that. It was certainly entertaining, I suppose, to dig my way back through that game. I am determined now, I think with a little more free time away from ESO, since I've hit my achievement goal and ESO is, undergoing some work to make it balance back out. I'll probably try to tackle that and see if I can actually complete Arena coming up. But that was quite a difficulty spike, so I don't know whether it's I just got substantially worse or suddenly the game got a lot harder, and it's going to get real bad for the end of that because that was an experience to go through. And if every other stream takes me 3 hours, that's going to be another 15 hours before I actually get through there if I'm going to try to ever beat this game. But, yep, Arena is back.
I really hope that the next time you stream Arena, I'm actually at home so I can watch it. Because I was so disappointed.
No, I will. I was going to say that I definitely want to try to play before next show, so I will definitely keep everyone up to date. if you're ever curious what Arena looks like or how to not be good at the game, I am your man. I will show you all of those things and how to probably just not do what I do to beat a game from 1994.
I don't know. I mean, you've gotten pretty far through it, so you're doing something right. It's just
I'm
difficult.
very curious how, like, I'll probably do it with Daggerfall or Battlespire going forward. But now that I've suffered through so much of this, I really wish I had a good gauge on how many times I died doing this. Like, because the amount of times that I get killed per stream is somewhat horrifying to think back. And it's like, oh yeah, this one room, and it was like, oh yeah, I had to reload my save like 14 times. It's like, that's 14 deaths for one room. Like, what is happening? I am the worst hero in history, so. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I've done in all of video gaming since last show. Look at this. Without Ark and our constant alliance war, this is... Actually, shoot, what's the date?
Oh no. I was really hoping I could get away.
Yeah, we were so close. Oh man. So since this will be our last show, why don't you tell us what you think about Aldmeri Dominion before we go on to any closing thoughts and wrapping things up?
Can you give me a topic to work off of? Because I've had to come up with all of these things, and I'm running low here.
Yeah. Well, why don't we just talk about, you know what? Well, the chat's split between people being very pleased about this or very displeased about this. So, I don't know. Why don't we just talk about the overall situation involving, shoot, I don't know. Why don't you just tell us how much you dislike the Altmer being in charge of the Aldmeri Dominion?
Actually, I do have a bit to say on this topic. I don't get why the Altmer think they're so much better than everybody else in the Dominion, because they are humanoid and also taller than the other humanoid race in the Dominion, and I, as a short individual, find that inherently sizist, and I don't appreciate it. I think maybe we should chop them all at the knees, so that way they're down to Bosmer size like I am, and see if they still have their high and mighty attitudes.
That was surprisingly savage.
Listen.
I feel like the height thing and being sizist, which is one of my favorite terms now, I feel like that one actually legitimately was somewhat from the heart.
I mean, I say I play a high elf because, which is not the tune you see on screen here, but I say that like my previous main was a high elf because it lets me roleplay my dream of being tall one day that I never got to live out. It works both ways.
Perfect. Yeah, so I guess based on that, is there anything else that is there anything we're missing that maybe I am forgetting that we should bring up before we end? This has been rather concise, but I mean, with the amount, depending upon how much of the pre-show gets edited in at any point, this, yeah. Good luck, Ark.
There was one thing I forgot to mention in my tales. So
yes.
Whenever Kiz was in the hospital and we called off our dungeon prog for the week, instead of doing Vet Castle Thornhard mode, me, Wandering Bard, Lego, so that's the other 3 members of the prog team, and then Dubs, who's from the Lore Seekers trial team, we went and did pledges. Bard hadn't been in White Gold Tower in a while and forgot that the shock mechanic was a thing, so he spent the whole time dead, which I decided to pick on him for. So for the next 2 dungeons that we did together, he just decided he wasn't DPSing at all.
That does sound
he
like
would
Bard.
slash loot in the corner, or slash sleep in the corner, and it was up to me, Dubs, and Lego to kill everything. So we did all the hard modes We did the hard mode in Blackheart Haven, the hard mode in Elden Hollow 1. Luckily, they were easy dungeons that he decided to nope out of. But the best part of it was when Lego had had enough of Bard's protesting, pull, and it was in the room with Elden Hollow, like right before you get to Leaf Seether, where you have that one mini boss who's like in the corner and like all the ads. Lego taunted all of them and then chased Bard down with them and made the ads kill him. And Bard would try to run around and Lego would just taunt all the ads after him, and it was really funny.
That's amazing. That's good coordination. Controlling all those ads is kind of a pain sometimes. So, like, kiting them where you need to go, there's so many of them. They get all hung up on the corridors and stuff. So.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was great. But yeah, that was the one thing that I missed that was entertaining enough to talk about, but I didn't fill out the notes, so I completely forgot what I did all week, and it was my turn first. So it was just like, I was like, story, that's what I did. But yeah, it was fantastic.
Question, you just mentioned, before we move on, what is lightning mechanic? Are you referring at the end, like the lightning wall, or the fact that those lightning dudes explode when you kill them?
Both of them, actually.
Oh, okay. So lightning, so Bard forgot lightning exists.
He's gonna hate me after he hears this. I'm never gonna live it down. He listens to the show. He is fantastic. And fun fact, he's actually the guy who does the lovely Red Diamond cover that you hear at the end of every Tales episode on the recorded version. So, correct. Bard, please don't hate me.
Yeah, and you can mock his inability to acknowledge the elements, but you can't mock his incredible musical talents, because
exactly,
we get so many requests about that song, and that's the wonderful artist who did it.
Yes, and he's really awesome, really great guy. He just griefs me to no end, and this time, I think the comment that made him do all this, so the first time he got blown up, it was forgetting the ad explodes, and then afterwards it was the lightning wall hit him, and we were doing the hard mode, so everything just hurt real bad, and so he was dead like the whole time, and we beat it, and while I was still fighting, I said, well, Bard, I said something, I was talking because I was tired, I was like, I need a nap. I was like, Bard, I know you don't need a nap because you've been taking one through the whole fight, and he laughed and then didn't help the rest of the time on purpose. So, yeah. But yeah, that was the rest of my tales that I forgot earlier.
No, I'm actually very glad you brought those up. that was entertaining.
I will say, as a quick little teaser, sorry, I'm apparently not done. Bard actually had DM'd me. He found something that we're going to reveal next Tales of Tamriel episode. We're going to do it this time, but Ark isn't here, and it's specifically concerning Ark. Mm-hmm. So I really think everybody's going to enjoy it, especially the sadists among you who have been enjoying me having to slander the AD. I think you're really going to want to hear what Ark had to say a long, long time ago on his first ever Tales appearance.
Oh, wow. I don't even remember this.
I'm excited. Apparently, Bard did some digging. And I'm excited to share this with everybody.
So, we don't usually do teasers, but yeah, I was going to say, stay tuned next week, everyone, for Tales of Tamriel and what happens to Ark, because I assume he's some type of secret Altmer sympathizer. This is... I gotta go listen to Ark's first appearance. So, before we end the show... I got a
timestamp and everything.
I was gonna say, before we end the show, I would say that... for people who have always, jumped on the show not from the beginning, because yeesh, it's a long-running show, long before either Pixie or I have had anything to do with it, back when Ag started everything. Ark's first appearance, I believe, was 5 years ago. To give you a gauge as to where this is. So it's like, oh man, this is... Back in the day, this is lovely. I'm very excited, so stay tuned. On that note, Pixie, I guess, where can everyone find you?
You can find me right here at HyperPixie Gaming on Twitch, and on Twitter at HyperPixie Games, because character limits hate me.
So as for me, I'm Lotus of Doom pretty much everywhere. Twitch and Twitter are my main things. I'm trying to get back into streaming a bit more, but my schedule is abhorrent. So if you catch me live, I appreciate it, but I don't have a schedule that's easy to keep track of. So I just appreciate the thought. But yeah, if you ever actually need to get a hold of me, I'm Lotus of Doom on PC as well as PS4, and always happy to group up if I have the time. And if you ever need to get a hold of me, actually to ask anything or tell me anything, I am on Discord, and my main thing that I check the most is Twitter, so feel free to just shoot me a message if you ever need. And then finally, on behalf of Ark, which I would probably butcher compared to his, memorization of this, you can also follow everything we do over at the DungeonCrawlerNetwork.com. There you can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Discord. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/DungeonCrawlerNetwork if you want to help support the show, and consider leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. I forget what I think it's called, Apple Podcasts now, so that people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words. We definitely break a lot of things without Ark keeping us in line. And sometimes when we say things, they matter. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Tales of Tamriel, and we will see you all next time. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
When Akatosh slew Lorcan, he ripped his heart right out. He hurled it across Tamriel, and the heart was heard to shout, red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on Seer it fell, and like a dart shot to its mark down in an alien well. Magic effused the Lorcan blood to crystal red and strong. Then wild elves cut and polished it down to Chimel at a ball. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. When elves lost Nirn to men, Akatosh gave the stone to Saint Alesh in token of her right to sit the throne. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Red diamond, protect us till the end.